Back. This is the South African Morning right here on eNCA. So Masonwabe Ntloko has been making waves in the art and design world. Now he's got a solo exhibition in Johannesburg from tomorrow until March that you can make sure that you get to experience. The 26-year-old grew up in Idutywa in the Eastern Cape, and his work is heavily influenced by isiXhosa culture. Subject matter he's delved into include initiation ceremonies for young men, matriarchs, as well as other powerful African women. Ntloko joins us now to discuss his work in Masonwabe. Thank you for your time and welcome. Let's talk about your work. I mean, what inspired you to be an artist?
To tell you the honest truth, firstly, good morning. So to tell you the honest truth, I just think I've always known, like from picking up a pencil in like grade 1, grade 2, I just knew that this was what I was meant to do, and I just followed my passion and led me here today. And
why was it important to incorporate your isiXhosa background and roots?
I think it wasn't even intentional, to tell you the truth. I think as you, like a normal late 90s kid, I grew up, listening to hip-hop music, doing what everyone else was doing. So my work was very heavily influenced by that. But the more you grow, the more pride you have of who you are and where you come from. And that started just bleeding into the work, and it became what it is today.
Yeah, I think what I also found interesting is that you also touch on issues of, matriarchs in the Xhosa culture, young men going to, for the initiation. And one would always think that that is often, quite confidential information. It's taboo to talk about it. What made you bold enough to address such topics through your art?
I think for me personally, because I've undergone all the processes that a normal Xhosa man undergoes, there's information to be kept secret, there's information to be respected, but there's also information that you can educate people with. So finding a balance of what to do and what not to do because you grew up around these things is where I think I have the balance.
Yeah, and you've also taken your work commercial, working with other brands. What was that experience like for you?
Very interesting. My thing is I don't have a traditional art background. I have more of a design background. So what I was taught at school was learning how to take your work and applying it to like different surfaces. And for me, it wasn't a hard experience. The harder experience was learning the business side of this whole thing, because to tell you the truth, it is 80% business, even 90% business and 10% the art, because 10% of the time you are doing the art and everything else. Like, for example, if you're doing an exhibition like this, there's the preparation to it. You've already done the work, Now it's, you have to make sure that this is done, this is done, this is done. So it's finding that balance that's more difficult as compared to actually the creating.
Yeah. What would you say were some of the mistakes you made in business that you've learned from and now you know to master? Because, like you said, it's basically 80% business and 20%
I think I've made a lot of mistakes, but for me, I never punish myself for what the younger me has done. I always understand that there's more to learn. If I do something and make a mistake, there's room to grow. So for me, it's not necessarily looking at things from a perspective of it's like, what have I learned from that mistake? So I've made a few. It's just some of them are confidential, so I can't really say much. But
yeah, I just think the message is important for young people who come in thinking it's just 100% art, knowing that you're probably going to learn as you go, but it's part of the journey. Making mistakes, you should not give up. You will fail forward. I think that's the message. The exhibition, which I think is equally exciting for you, take us through what fans, South Africans can expect. What have you prepared?
So the title of the exhibition is Iloso Moya, which directly translates to the eye that sees spiritual things. So the background of the whole thing is that my work, because my work is the way it is, a lot of people always speak about how it speaks to them spiritually. And obviously, as a person who's grown up going to church and also practicing what is it called? There's a term that I'm African spirituality, if you may call it that.
Okay.
There's always been that struggle of finding a balance between the two, So for me, I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I understand what value everything brings, and I accept, like, for example, at the point I'm in right now, it doesn't matter what you do or where you come from. As long as you live by the rules that basically all of us should be living by, I learn from you, So I learn from different religions. So I think this body of work for me is that. It's me saying, this is how much I've learned. spiritually from point A to point B or point D, so, and I'm now giving it to the world.
Yeah, so it's not just for entertainment purposes where people, feast on their eyes, but it's also about something for them to take back home with and just kind of, think about and engage in those conversations. And why was also that important? Because one would say religion, spirituality, your Christian beliefs is personal. You don't want to offend. You don't want to discriminate or exclude. You don't want people to come there thinking, oh, what if I'm not of this religion or this belief system? Why were you opening up the space to say it is a safe space for all of us to engage, irrespective of where we come from?
I think for me, I don't look at the world like that. I think everything is a conversation. If it's possible for us to have a conversation about anything, we should. I'm not coming in and saying this is the law. I don't think my truth is the universal truth. I think for my belief is that the purpose of an artist is to create work that starts conversations, work that continues conversations. So right now, this is what I'm tackling, but in a year from now, I might be tackling what's happening in South Africa politically. So I think it's being able to understand that at each and every moment, there is going to be a piece that will describe what was happening at the time. If you look at it, even 1976, there's that one picture that about that. So I think if you look at it like that, you start just realizing that everything is a conversation as long as you are inclusive with your conversation and understanding that your word is not law.
Right. So where can people get the exhibition? When are tickets still available?
It's an open exhibition on the 23rd of Feb, which is this Thursday at 6 p.m. in Parkers at Catmull Gallery.
All right, and it's on until March?
It's on until the 23rd of March, which will be on a Thursday, yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Any socials where people can get a hold of you?
My socials are Masonwabe Ntloko, Masonwabe Ntloko, across all social media platforms.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Wishing you all the best. Joining us right here on the South African Morning.